30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and young guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's sort of a cloudy, overcast Wednesday, but who cares? Because, man, we have got a star-studded lineup for you today. Sometimes it just works out this way, even though you try to balance them out and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes stuff happens. So listen to who's coming on. Tony Basilio, right around 218, 220. Give or take a minute or so. We've got a lot to talk to him about, including Tennessee's huge weekend at Clemson in the regional over in Clemson. Then during the 3 o'clock hour, it's just wall to wall. Coach Herm Edwards, the president of the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, Jason Rittenberry at 3:20, and then the new coach of the Predators, Andrew Brunette, who I covered as a player. He'll be with us around 3:40. Before I bring Kelly in, I want to take a moment not only and thank those of you who came out yesterday, thank the folks at Wilson Bank and Trust who have sponsored the Sports Speaker Series, but over 3,400 of you watched the interview with Candace Lee on Twitter alone. That's the largest number that we have ever had for a show. So let me say a huge thank you to all of you who tuned in at some point. Now, let's go to Murfreesboro. This will be the deflating moment. We just had a high there a moment ago to be able to say 3,400 Twitter views. And now the balloon gets popped as we say hello to Kelly Holcomb.
Are you trying to say that it's because of me that the Twitter views are not there all the time? Is that what you're trying to say?
Just your negativity will surface at some point, and you'll take some cheap shot.
I've tried to explain to people it's not negativity. I was raised to tell the truth. So in today's society, when you tell the truth, they view you as negative or you're hateful. And when you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you like it or you don't like it, that's not my fault. That's yours. So.
Think of some of the names you have called me. That is hateful.
No, that's realistic.
Oh, wow.
That's realistic, George.
Nice to have you back.
Sorry.
Oh, let's shut his mic off. So what's been going on in your world over the last 36 hours?
Nothing much, man. I had to, of course, we've talked about my mother, so I went and saw my mother yesterday, which was I was glad to get down there and see her. I didn't get to see her last week because we went to Florida, obviously. So I went down and saw her, and then I spent the day with her, so that was a good thing. I enjoyed it. She was doing well. She was eating good, and it's a tough situation, and we all are having to go through things like that, and I'm having to go through it right now. So it's it kind of sucks, but. That's what I did yesterday. I wish I could have golfed, but just had to go down and see her.
After playing golf Monday morning, I don't wish to play golf anytime soon.
You shouldn't. I've told you that.
No, I know that.
I mean, you can go to X Golf all you want to, and you can get the PGA guy all you want to.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you're hitting a driver 150 yards, George. I mean, hey, you ever thought about going to like Anytime Fitness or something, like to go to Gold's Gym or something? You have?
So that's where we're going.
You thought about it and then rolled back over and went back to sleep. That's what happened.
Absolutely. Let's check in first with Billy Derrick. Billy, how are you?
I'm good, George. I'm good. It was a great day yesterday. See if Kelly can keep it rolling. Kelly, get your questions ready. We got plenty of guests, so hopefully you did your homework.
I'm excited that we had that y'all had that many people watch on Twitter, man. That must have been a good interview. She's obviously she's got her head on straight. She knows what she's up against, and she's doing a really good job.
She has got a really tough job, but I'm telling you, she's getting some things done, and people are noticing. David, how are you today?
I'm in a good mood, George. The Braves got a W last night against the Metropolitans, so we'll go for the series win tonight. So I know you're in a good mood. I'm in a good mood.
The game got a little chippy last night.
Yeah,
huh?
well, first of all, I like Pete Alonso, but that's horse manure that after he hit this tape measure off Bryce Elder, who's never done anything to him.
Throw it again.
Yeah, he started all that crap.
You tell Pete we played 9 innings in the major leagues. So.
I'll tell you what I'd have done. He did that to me. Next time up, I'd stick it in his ribs.
Ear hole.
Well, no, I'm not going. I'm going somewhere there won't be permanent damage.
And Bryce is such a good guy. They asked him about it post-game, and he said, if I hit it to the concourse too, I would probably do the same thing. I think he was just trying to deflect. The Braves aren't that type of team, but for the season.
Oh, now hold on a minute.
For the season the Mets have had, though.
Hold on. You don't think Ronald Acuna hadn't done a little of that?
He wouldn't say that in a camera, though.
Well, yeah, it's all in Spanish. The camera basically is, okay, can the equipment reach that far to get there? It has nothing to do with anything but that.
I think a lot of Braves fans are saying this. For the season the Mets have had, they're one game below 500 now.
They need to shut the hell up.
Why do you feel the need to talk? You're the highest payroll in American sports history.
Tyler Matzik in the dugout, he yelled, "Throw it again," when the camera came over at him. When I guess somebody
took the lead.
After
they took the lead.
After they took the lead.
Throw it again.
Hey, but isn't Major League Baseball? I can remember growing up. Isn't it gotten a little soft like the NFL? Because normally when somebody hit a home run, the next guy up was getting some jaw check time right there. I mean, it was just obvious, and that doesn't happen anymore.
It's kind of tit for tat. Pitchers have strikeout celebrations now. Trevor Bauer used to have the sword. So it's kind of, you get me, I get you.
The new age player doesn't respond the way the older players would. I mean, you get hit or you give up a bomb, it's kind of like it just rolls off your back a little bit, for a lot of these younger players, especially in college. Ejecting players doesn't happen as often as it did. And fights don't happen as often.
Here's the thing. Replay has stopped a lot of managers coming out and telling the umpire, you stink, you're blind, you're an idiot. They don't do any of that anymore because replay basically takes care of it for them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get the Earl Weaver, Billy Martin stuff that I grew up with and that Kelly grew up with.
That was awesome when they started kicking the dirt. Going. That was awesome. There's nothing like it in the world.
So, Billy, you have an update, I would assume?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
We start with a little DeAndre Hopkins news.
Yep.
He is slated to fly to Nashville on Sunday for a visit with the two-tone blue. D-Hop and Vrabel were together in Houston, and now Vrabel's team gets the first visit with DeAndre Hopkins. What do we think about that?
I think I would be asking the question, why?
Why not?
Well, I mean, if you're him.
I mean, who else you got at receiver?
Well, no question. Look, it'd be a great move for the Titans if they could get him. I mean, he's one of the elite. But as one of the elite, Kelly, why would he do this?
I have no idea. That's what we talked about the other day. I mean, if you looked over the history of the Tennessee Titans, you're one of the better receivers that would be coming in here, but it seems to me like you're kind of getting up there in age. You still got a lot of production left. I mean, the guy can catch anything in his radius, still make moves. He can still get open. He's a good route runner. He knows how to get open, but can you get him the ball? And do I have enough time to get to where I want to? I would like to try to win a championship at some point. And do we have time here to do that? Plus, do y'all have the money to pay me what I think I deserve?
Terry came on Friday and said they do have the money, which surprised me.
Okay.
But anyway, before we go haywire, we probably need to pump the brakes on this one because
just a visit.
Of the things we've brought up, which is why would he come here? What else you got, Billy?
Well, PGA and the Live have decided to merge.
Yeah.
And a big bombshell yesterday. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but a couple of interesting quotes came out from Rory McIlroy today. He said, I hate Live. I hope it goes away. I would fully expect that it does. I think that's where the distinction here is. This is the PGA Tour. the DP World Tour and the PIF, very different from Live. He also said, it's hard for me not to sit up here and feel somewhat like a sacrificial lamb and feeling like I've put myself out there, and this is what happens.
So Kelly, you ready for this one? I'm very aggressive today. If I were a player on the PGA Tour, and clearly, judging by some performance, I'm not.
Yes.
But if I were, I would be leading the charge to get rid of Jay Monahan. Number one, those guys wouldn't get back in anytime soon that bailed. And secondly, for him not to tell them what was going on, I'd fire his butt so quick. Boom.
Yeah. That, I've expressed a couple of months ago what I thought about the Live Tour. I can't believe I figured that it would happen at some point. I just didn't know it was going to happen this quick. And you can understand the argument that the players have right now. You got guys that went and made $200 million.
Sure.
And now you're getting to come back and play on this tour with no penalty. So why couldn't I have gone and done that? And then I just, it seemed like Rory, he's right. Rory and JT were well outspoken about that. Rory was kind of like the spokesperson for it. Tiger said a few things, but Rory kind of, he was on there. He took the brunt of all that. And I can understand his frustration. I heard that they had a closed door meeting with some of the players up in Canada. And I heard it was really, really intense and heated, and I can understand that. I don't, it's funny that Jay Monahan gets up there a couple of months ago and says what he says, and I can't say verbatim, so I'm not going to say it. But then, he was talking about today how people, I can see how they think I'm hypocritical. I understand that. I get I'm going to get criticized for that, but I just don't understand it. And we don't know all the details of the deal so far,
right.
So I'm not going to say anything, but I'm like him. I didn't like the Live deal. There's no competition. You're just paying guys. It's from the Saudis, and it seems like they're just trying to buy professional golf.
Well, I'll say it. If I were a player, I would be leading the charge to get rid of Jay Monahan. Can't trust him.
Yeah, he didn't even tell anybody.
Right.
I mean, this was released on Twitter.
And I'm sure that, based on the reaction to it, this was the only way he could pull it off. If he had told the players, they would have said,
no.
They would have said, if you even talk to these people, getting rid of you.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of him.
Happened.
Before this is over, he's going to be a dead man in this deal insofar as his job. They are not going to keep him. I don't think.
No. Well, we'll see where that goes. We got the NBA Finals continuing tonight. Game 3 between the Nuggets and the Heat at 7:30. Series is tied at 1. Denver is a 2.5-point favorite on the road tonight. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the finals with the series tied at 1. The winner of Game 3 has gone on to win the series 80% of the time. So tonight's game is big.
To me, Kelly, Denver's got to win one of these next two. Regain home court, and I think if they walk out of Miami at 2-2, they're going to be your champion.
I think you're right. I really do. I think you're right. I think they are the most talented team. I don't know if they're the better team. I think the Miami Heat's got a bunch of guys that understand the role. They got Jimmy Butler. They play well together. The other night you saw Denver kind of sluggish. Mike Malone talked about that, how they just didn't seem like they wanted to be there, which I don't understand. But Jamal Murray didn't play well. And it seems like if Jamal Murray doesn't play well, Jokic is going to get his points. But just the stat that David brought up the other day, when Jokic scores over 40, they don't win many games, and he's got to be dishing the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I think you're right. If they get a game out of those two games in Miami, they'll be okay. But if they don't, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them.
What else, Billy?
Oh, you need me to go, Billy? Sorry. To the college hoops circuit we go. Former Tennessee wing Olivier Nkamhoua, one of the nation's best transfer portal members, left. He is headed to Michigan. He took part in the G League invite camp this summer, but did not get an invitation to the NBA Combine. Took a visit to Ann Arbor last week. So he's headed to play for Juwan Howard averaged 10.8 points per game with 5 rebounds for Rick Barnes last year.
Wonder what his beef is. We'll ask Tony.
Yeah,
That's why we got him.
that's right.
Among the reasons we've got him.
Yeah, I try to listen. Let me take that echo off. There we go. I try to listen to Tony's show when I can, and I've heard them talk about Rick Barnes kind of pushing some guys out, meeting with some guys and saying, hey, you've put in your time here, move on with your life. I think Nkamhoua is he a 4-year guy? I think this might be his 4th year, so he's been in the program. But, yeah, Tony, he's the guy to ask for that. George, baseball news. Jacob deGrom is set to have surgery to repair a tear in his right ulnar collateral ligament, cutting short his first season with the Rangers after signing a big old 5-year, $185 million deal in the offseason.
And the Rangers knew there were problems.
Mm-hmm.
Look, any moron that covers baseball has known, just like Steven Strasburg, that Jacob deGrom was on borrowed time. Just too many things have not gone right. And you know what? The Rangers, who are in first place in the American League West, this may work out short term because they may win the division, but long term, the money they've shelled out, woo, baby.
Yeah, they
good.
won all 6 games that were started by deGrom, but he's only pitched 30 innings, so he really hasn't been able to pitch as much as he wanted to.
Really a shame.
Yeah. Aaron Judge is in the news. The Yankees are going to be without him for at least the next 10 days. He's going to go back on the IL with a contusion and sprained ligament in his right big toe. So both the Yankees and Rangers are without their big superstars here as we get a little bit closer to the All-Star break.
The Yankee lineup isn't good enough to really get it done without him. They got to have him. If this goes on very long, they got problems.
Luckily, the Braves.
They've been winning games, though, have they not? They've come out of the cellar. They've been winning some games here of late.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I
kind of agree with you.
7.5 back of Tampa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have y'all seen what the air looks like up there? Apparently,
yeah, what's going on?
David told me the Canadian wildfires.
That's what's going on around here today. It's not clouds, George. It's wildfire haze.
Right.
It looks like a Marvel movie.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Are you saying what we've got is that?
Yes.
Really?
That's what they've been saying on the news.
Oh, wow.
I guess
Shouldn't that stuff stop at the border?
It doesn't.
Shouldn't that stop when it gets to Fayetteville or Murfreesboro?
It doesn't there, Billy.
So would this be the end of the update?
This marks the end of the update.
Okay. The show's going to get better.
I really missed these updates yesterday.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Every time we don't schedule and have an update scheduled, there's like a bombshell that comes out.
Yeah.
But we talked about it today.
Okay, after the break, Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville. Looking forward to that. A lot to talk about. So stick around. From our beautiful new digs at the Fordyce Center, we are coming back.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
The much-anticipated grand opening of X Golf is Thursday, June the 1st from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. out in Bellevue, specifically 8137 Sawyer Brown Road at 1 Bellevue Place right down the road from the theater. Now, we'd love to have you join us. Our show will be here live from 2 to 4 p.m. with the ribbon cutting ceremony at 5 p.m. Come on out. Would love to meet you and compare crummy golf games. We are headed to Knoxville. Boy, it's been a busy weekend, and I bet a busy sports talk time up in Knoxville, Tennessee. Tony Basilio, longtime sports talk show host up there for his weekly visit. Tony, how are you?
Brother, I am incredible. Never been better in my life. And what a week, man. What a week.
So when what I think has been the game of the entire tournament so far on the men's side, the Tennessee-Clemson game, what was the reaction to it? Did you do some stuff afterwards?
Yeah, we were on the air. So here's my story. I was playing live music down at Calhoun's on the River during that game. Bunch of people, I just mentioned, hey, we're going to be playing music. If you want to come mix baseball with your music, come on down. The patio out there was full, and there was a ton of our listeners there, which was pretty neat. So I'm playing music watching that game, George, and I'm thinking to myself, baseball game. We started when the game was in the third inning. We finished when the game was like in the 11th, and there was still a lot of baseball to be played. We were trying to hang in there. We played 3.5 hours instead of 3 because we wanted to play Rocky Top at the end of the game after Tennessee won. And the freaking thing just would, and I mean would not end, as you guys know. The game just would not end. It was an incredible. Those of us who love baseball, if I was to put it in a capsule, that's why we love that sport, George. That game had everything in it. Everything.
You're exactly right. A buddy of mine, John Massey, who is a former University of Tennessee catcher, went with me to the Vandy, Oregon game, and he knew how to, get it on the ESPN app or whatever you call it. And God, we watched 2 hours of it. And every time I thought, okay, this is where it ends. It didn't. It was unbelievable.
And it was one thing after another. And Tennessee's depth of their pitching was kind of on display there. Clemson used 10 arms. Tennessee used 3. In essence, what Tennessee did is they got pot committed there. Because if they'd have lost that game, they'd have thrown their 3 best pitchers. Probably wouldn't have been able to use them the next couple days out. And for Clemson, they were able to piece together and use those guys on Sunday. But Tony Vitello was talking about it. He said, after a game like that, the team that lost that game was not going to come back. It just took everything out of you.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So tell me this, because I don't know the answer. What I think I remember is that teams in their bids to host put a certain amount of money up there,
right?
Which has led everybody to say, including me, how in the world did Tennessee get outbid by Southern Miss? Is it a monetary thing they got outbid for? Or did the NCAA just say, We're going with you.
I had a guy on today who covers really, really, really good dude who covers, I'll give you his name here in a second, who covers David Eckert's his name, Jackson Clarion Ledger, who's a kid from up my neck of the woods, went to Penn State and covers Ole Miss or Southern Miss, depending on the time. But he used to cover Southern Miss for the Jackson Clarion Ledger, and I told him that's proof that God has a sense of humor, that a kid that grew up there would be down in there in the middle of Mississippi covering college baseball. At any rate, he was tasked with Monday when they saw the pairings. His paper wanted him and some other people in the sports department to go on the record as to who was going to win these particular series. He said, Tony, I assumed it would be in Knoxville, so I picked the Vols. The way the process works, George, they want us to believe is that Tennessee at the outset says, yeah, we'll host. Southern Miss says, yeah, we'll host. Used to be there was a dollar figure involved in it. They say there's no longer a dollar figure involved in it. George, you believe that?
No, I do not.
I don't either.
Because the NCAA equals money grubby.
That's all it is. And so why else would the team that's got the worst RPI, why else would they be hosting this weekend other than they sweeten the pot? That's obviously what happened.
So you know Tony Vitello very well. I've got to think that privately he's furious over this and probably not real happy with Danny White.
I haven't talked to him, so I can't speak to that. I'm sure. Here's the thing about Tony. Tony is Italian, which means we hold grudges and we get mad about everything. We're very whiny people. We're very hard-loving people. We're also really whiny people. And I'm sure Tony behind the scenes, and I haven't talked to him, I'm sure he's whining about this. And I can't believe it. The truth is, it's a real great opportunity for them to go on the road. The truth is, they're playing really well on the road. The truth is, the teams that host have a lot of pressure in that sport. And it almost becomes like the Atlanta Braves before the year they broke through, George, when you play in front of your home fans. Evan Russell was on with us yesterday, and he said, you know, that Notre Dame game on that Sunday, when that kid hit that home run against us last year, you could feel the pressure of the stands transferred onto our team in that dugout. He said the weight of it was just really amazing. So it was unlike anything I've ever felt. And I think that's what happens in a lot of these home ballparks. You know, there were 16 regional sites and only 9 home winners last weekend. Last year, there were 8 national seeds, which means seeds 1 through 8, okay? The national seeds. 6 of the 8 got beat. That's a whole lot of losing on your home field in the last 2 tournaments. And as the sport starts to mean more and more, and the crowds get bigger and bigger, the pressure becomes that much more augmented on these players, and you can just sense it. I mean, last year, George, I was at that super regional loss for Tennessee with Notre Dame. You could literally feel it in the air. You could feel it. It was eerie. It was really strange.
Because what ends up happening, and by the way, I totally agree with you. I had told a friend of mine that I took Sunday to the Vandy Xavier game.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it would really behoove Vandy to jump out early and eliminate, at least in that game, all the pressure. Well, it didn't happen that way. Xavier, their pitcher was really good.
Yeah.
It's 1-0 Vandy going to the 6th, and I had a feeling you can feel it. You're exactly right. You can feel it in a crowd, and you know what? The players aren't stupid. They feel it too.
And baseball is a sport. It's not like football where you just go out there and the crowd revs you up and you go run over your opponent. Baseball is a skill sport. You got to put that ball in play. And when that lineup starts not hitting, it becomes contagious. Just like when that lineup starts hitting, it becomes contagious. But you know, you look over at your star player and your 4-hole hitter, you know, he's wearing the golden sombrero. The guy hitting thirds popped up twice. All of a sudden, the 6-hitter and the 7-hitter are going, well, wait a second here. This isn't supposed to be on us, let alone the 8 and 9 guys. And baseball is just a sport where it feeds itself. That thing with Notre Dame last year, George, I've never felt a crowd like that. You could see it and feel it. It was as thick because it was shocking. That was the super team. They were unbeatable. Tony told me after that, privately, he said, I'm never going to allow my team, any team I coach, to ever be playing in another round while they're playing in that one. He said those kids' heads were all in Omaha while we were trying to get through that super regional. Yep. He said that's never going to happen to one of my teams again. He said really what happened last year was my fault. So
I've said this, Tony, and I bet you feel it too. Is it not amazing, for all the grief ESPN catches, and some of it at times is deserved, they have elevated this sport from when you and I first started as sports talk show hosts. Nobody cared about this sport.
Totally invisible. It's funny. It's funny you mention that because my brother, who's the last person in the world who's late 60s, he called me the other day and he said, man, I was watching that Tennessee game because they were playing Penn, right? So it's local interest up there, he was watching Tennessee because they were in Penn's region. That's what it was. But he said, Tony, that Florida-Tennessee game is not only he goes, I don't watch much college baseball, so obviously it's the best college baseball game I've ever seen. He said, I found myself that night after that game was over searching out more college baseball and the next day. He said, I've never done that. See, I think as people get more and more exposed to the game, I think that sport continues to grow. Tennessee and Florida the other day did the second highest number for any of the regional games ever, 700,000+ on average. And George, that's a huge number for a Saturday afternoon for a non-major league sporting event. It's a huge number.
You're absolutely right. So let me toss this out before I turn it to Kelly. I've always thought, and it's never going to happen, but if you moved baseball to more of an April to maybe the end of July, instead of what it is now, first of all, your Big Ten schools wouldn't freeze to death. They'd be showing up more. What do you think it would be like if it was more of a summer sport?
Chris Burke advocates for that, the great Chris Burke. He's told him for years, you are missing an absolute opportunity here. He's right. Chris's model is you would play and you would have the College World Series around July the 4th. What could be more fun than having wall-to-wall college baseball on July the 4th? He's right. Just take it, slide it back 5 or 6 weeks. He's right.
Bring it on. He's absolutely
right. It would be
right.
so fun. Or even if you had the tournament around July the 4th. Think about if last weekend, if you slid it back a month like you're talking about, and just 1 month. Because what you have here is, even here, which is fairly southern, not tremendously southern as far as the South goes, but it's snowing here when they're playing their first couple of games, or spitting freezing rain or whatever, I mean, personally, I love it, college baseball. George, I'm not going to a game till it's about 70, 75. I'm just not.
I'm
just not. I mean, I'm not going to go to a game till, late April, or mid to late April, maybe at night, because I'm not going to go out there and freeze and watch college baseball. Well, I'm not going to go freeze and watch anything. Come to think of it.
Okay, let's bring Kelly in. Kelly, I'm going to tell you a quick story. You heard him talk about Chris Burke. Chris Burke is a former Tennessee Vol who is best known professionally for a bottom of the 18th inning homer in 2005 against my beloved Braves. So he and Will Perdue know each other. They're friends. And I told Will, the first time I ever met Burke, I said, I want to meet Chris Burke. So we go up to the press box and Will sort of warns him a little, hey. And I said, Chris, I should absolutely hate you. I said, you ripped my guts out with a team that I thought was good enough to do something. I said, but I keep hearing from Will that you're a great guy. And so I'm trying to put it behind me. So anytime I see Burke, we laugh about it. Anyway, go ahead. Say hello to Tony.
Tony, what's up, man? Smoothie King guy, I see.
You got to love it, brother.
The Hulk.
Delicious and nutritious.
I'm glad you said that earlier about, because I've talked with expectations about things and the way that Tennessee was playing last year. They get to the Super Regional and playing in front of your home crowd, there's so much pressure. And I know you talked about football. I felt that pressure in a football stadium before because I've told people I've thrown a touchdown and I've had 80,000 cheer me. Next play, I threw an interception. I had the same 80,000 5 minutes ago cheer me. They booed me. So people don't understand that pressure that Tennessee was under last year. So with that being said, I think that's probably going to help them this year. Do you not?
I do. There's one fly in that ointment, one caveat, and that's this. Southern Miss last year got beaten the same round in their building. Their coach is retiring. He's a legend. He's been there 30-some-odd years as an assistant and as a head coach. And he's one of those baseball lifer guys who coached in high school, junior college. He coached every rung. Smaller college. He paid the price.
Yep.
And last year they lost to an Ole Miss team that went on and won the College World Series. That Ole Miss team just came out of nowhere and beat them.
Right.
And they're going to have 7,000 people jammed into that place. It's a sweat box. They're calling – the forecast is for rain every day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And they have a veteran team. And that's the thing that Evan Russell said to me yesterday. He said that's the exact profile that Notre Dame had last year with us. Veteran team, there the year before, got beaten that round the year before. He said, and at the end of it all, he said, those are the types of teams you don't want to face. You don't want to see those teams. Tennessee's better than them on the field. Tennessee has better pitching. Tennessee has a better lineup. The thing I don't know about Tennessee in this spot is, are they going to execute on defense? That's always the question when they take the mound. They played 3 games last weekend that were errorless, close to perfect baseball games. Haven't done it all year. And did it in the biggest spot. So if they can carry that over, they should be fine in this round and get to Omaha with a team that if this coach and that coaching staff gets this team to Omaha with everything they've been through, more power to them, because they are only one of 2 other programs in college baseball that have been to 3 super regionals in a row. Tennessee's done that 3 in a row, along with Texas and Stanford. And that ain't bad, Kelly, when you're in that company in college baseball.
No, it's not bad at all. I say it all the time. We all know this when you're around sports, but your team takes on your personality as the head coach. And Tony Vitello, I don't know him. You know him. He seems like a very confident guy, a brash guy. I think it was a little bit too overconfident, and you even spoke about it.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of toned that down, and I kind of think the team has kind of toned down a little bit too. But I still think that they've got that confidence. Just watching them in that game the other night, that 14-inning game where, they were down to the last strike and got a home run out of that deal to go up 5-4. So it just seems like that this may be their time because they show that confidence of their coach. And no matter what happens, we're going to win a game.
Well, that's a great point. I hadn't even thought about that. We use that term in baseball a lot, the team of destiny, because it's a sport that's like that. It's a sport where you're just right on the edge. You're always on the edge of defeat or victory. And the teams that win are the ones that find a way to win. And that's teams that lose, I can't figure out what's going on with that Vanderbilt program. Because their team, after Tennessee played them this year, went 13-12. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I mean, they had, and I remember listening to Billy's podcast, the great Billy Derrick, leading into the Tennessee series, and they were just, they were making their reservations for Omaha. But that's how baseball is. It's a what have you done your last 10 games, 7 games, and then really last weekend a lot of teams with high expectations just, they're home watching now. So it's going to be a really interesting series with Tennessee and them down there. Tennessee has the edge all over the place, but the question is, can they perform at that level and consistently perform on defense? That's my biggest question about them.
And surely they're not going to overlook.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Did you hear what he called Billy?
I did. I wasn't going to say anything. Yeah,
the great.
Great.
Yeah, he's
Like,
the kid's
are
got,
you
Billy
paying him? What the hell is that about?
No, that kid's got chops.
Just like,
hey, listen. I'm not. I never tell people how to run their deal, but you ought to carve out a bigger role for him. That kid's got chops.
Oh my God, Kelly, tell him the way it really is.
He makes well. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to mess that up for my man Tony right there, because he thinks Billy's something else. I'm just not going to do it.
Billy, you might want to send a resume to Knoxville. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, may have a job waiting on me.
Right.
I got love for Billy. I have love for him. Listen, anybody who saw his team go 13-12 down the stretch like that from where they were, that could have been fun for old Billy.
No. I mean, Tony's got a point that the way Tennessee has played, and I was there, I couldn't tell you how many Vandy fans. I was sitting in the outfield, had the Tennessee game on their phones. Vandy fans care just as more about Tennessee losing as they do Vanderbilt winning. I mean, that's how it is. And baseball is what Vandy has had. I mean, that's been their calling card. And now here comes Tony Vitello in Tennessee. I love it. I love the rivalry, but some Vandy fans don't.
Well, and the thing about Tony, guys, is he's just one of these people that just kind of wins. And it's weird about sports, isn't it? And I can see how, like, if you're an opposing fan, you hate that guy. You'd like to wring his little neck. But, at the end of the day, the guy is going to find players, they're going to develop them, and they're going to win games. I mean, this year's team has no business being here right now. None. They just don't. And they're still winning. It's a remarkable coaching job even to get this far with that group of players. It really is.
Kelly, go one or two more questions.
Well, I won't say anything.
Okay, what's the Olivier Nkamhoua deal? What went on there?
So Rick Barnes called a meeting with all the seniors, every one of them, and he said, "You guys are not welcome back individually." And several of them went into the portal. Few got out. They told Josiah Jordan-James that, and he announced last week after testing the NBA waters that he was going to come back as a walk-on. And they were like, huh? But he's come back as a walk-on. He gets no NIL money from them, allocated NIL money, and he's not even on a scholarship. So we've never seen that, heard of that. If you guys have, more power to you. Olivier Nkamhoua jumped into the portal and became kind of a hot commodity, particularly at a place like Michigan where they lost Hunter Dickerson to Kansas. And so it came down to Baylor for him. It came down to Michigan, a few others. And it looked like he was going back and forth between them. And, hey, I hope the kid got paid. Back in the day, we would have said, the kid got paid. They paid him. And today I'm saying, man, I hope the kid got paid. I hope the kid made like the PGA Tour commissioner and got paid.
Okay, so you got a big weekend. Saturday, 3:00 Nashville time, 4:00 your time. We don't know the start times of Sunday or Monday.
Right.
But I have a feeling that you'll be doing something around all this. So tell people how they can hear you.
After every game in the postseason, we're going to do our Garza Law Tennessee Extra Innings call-in show. The other night after playing live music, I actually had Brian Hartman in my studio right here where I'm at. I was upstairs with my head on a pillow on a cell phone doing the show after playing 3.5 hours live music. George, that game was so crazy. And I apologize to Brian later, but I just had to be a part of that call-in show because the adrenaline and just how much I love the sport of baseball. It was just so fun to see baseball played like that between two very good teams. Look, I think that Clemson team Tennessee saw is better than a lot of teams that are going to get to Omaha. And I think they're better than that team Tennessee's going to play this weekend. Now, watch a team Tennessee plays this weekend beat them after I say that. But that Clemson team is really, really, really good. So we do our thing over at tclub.team. That's where our blog is each and every day. And I would encourage you to check it out, tclub.team.
Beautiful. Thank you for doing this, as always.
Thank you, my man.
He is the best, man. It has been so much fun having him on each and every week. This week, a bunch more happening. Herm Edwards, top of the hour. Jason Rittenberry from the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix at 3:20. And then the new Predator coach, Andrew Brunette, will join us at 3:40. I covered him as a player. Now I'm apparently going to cover him as a coach. You won't believe the first question I'm going to ask him. We're going to have some fun. Please stick around. And as we go to the break, let's talk the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. You see the date down at the bottom, August the 4th through the 6th. I've tried to be really honest. I've never been to a Grand Prix. Never really wanted to until I started hearing from people in the same boat who have been one of the last 2 years or both, who tell me it's one of the coolest sporting events ever. I can't wait. I am going this year. And I know there's a ton of music around all this. They have put together 3 days of wall-to-wall music. That is one of Jason's biggest strengths. The tickets are on sale right now. You can go to musiccitygp.com. Again, musiccitygp.com. If you're looking for a football camp for your son or daughter that stresses the fundamentals and doing things right, let me suggest the Hometown Football Camp. Here's former MTSU quarterback Wes Counts.
The Hometown Football Camp is a youth football camp at Battleground Academy, June 19th through 21st. This is a working skills camp for young football players to learn proper technique and skills to prepare them for the upcoming season. Our coaches have won championships at both high school and college levels and are eager to pass along their knowledge. So if the young football player in your life wants to be successful this fall, send them to the Hometown Football Camp. Register at hometownfootballcamp.com. That's hometownfootballcamp.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
This is going to be a very short segment before we get to Stat of the Day and then to Coach Herm Edwards. Kelly, there is something to this pressure thing. I don't know that I always believe that, but I've been at too many sporting events in recent years where you can feel that a nervous crowd makes the athlete nervous.
It happens, George. It truly does. I said that, talking to Tony right there. I've had fans cheer me and then fans boo me, and then sometimes it just becomes a struggle winning at home because the fans get so on you. They're relentless, and for whatever reason, that happened a couple of times in my career where I was on teams that it was better. It was easier to go on the road because the world was against you. You knew they weren't going to boo you. They're going to boo their own fans. And that's just it gets to that sometimes. We talk about expectations a lot with Danny Evans, and those expectations sometimes when you get thrust into a situation where they say, hey, you're going to win the Super Bowl or you're predicted to win the Super Bowl. That's what makes the New England Patriots, what they did on their long run, and the Kansas City Chiefs, what they're doing now. There's so many expectations, and especially at home, because when you're home, people think you're supposed to win, and then you start losing some games at home, and the fans can be relentless, George. The newspaper people can be relentless on you, and it's something that you have to look at.
Billy, in baseball, I absolutely believe that Tennessee went through this a year ago. Number 1 seed, expected to do this, expected to do that. I saw a Vandy baseball team, one of Tim Corbin's first to ever get in a tournament, in that same ranked like number 1 in the country, 1 seed, when Michigan beat them in a bitter deal where David Price gave up a 9th inning homer in the deciding game and Michigan won 4-3. I do believe there's something to this.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the other team as well. I mean, that other team, they have no pressure on them. You get a team that's unranked, maybe in a regional or a super, a lower seed, they go in there with house money. Notre Dame last year. I mean, Notre Dame had probably everyone else outside of Knoxville behind them. They probably felt that a little bit, but they had no pressure. And Tennessee had all the pressure on them. And so, especially in a game of baseball, David knows it well. I mean, you feel that almost more than any other sport. It's a long game. You make an error, it might affect you at the plate. But yeah, I mean, Vandy this year, I mean, you could almost feel, looking over at the wall, the 2 national titles, the type of program they are, the pressure that the players might put on themselves. It affects everybody, affects the fans. And so it is a real thing.
They probably felt like they probably felt like they weren't. I think that's because of the history of what Vanderbilt's done in the last, 17 seasons, George, or 20 something, as long as he's been there. I think that was the history that caught up with him. And probably those guys, players always know. That's what my agent used to tell me. Like, if a coach is not, like, players know that they probably thought, hey, we're not as good as we have been the last couple of years. We're just trying to make it. We're going to try to go as far as we can. And that started building and building and building. And they got to that regional deal where they're hosting, and they it just starts building, George, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It is so crucial in these super regional settings for the home team to win game one. All the pressure, if you lose game one, goes on to you for game two. And, in baseball, it's really weird how a walk is a rally, an error is a rally, even with 2 outs. Those little things that can get an extra guy to the plate in the 9th inning, 2 innings later. So those things that kind of snowball and happen in the game, those really are the deciding factor in these really pressure-packed elimination and regional games.
Okay. After the break, we'll go stat of the day, and then we'll go Coach Herm Edwards. And I've got a topic for him at the beginning I bet he never sees coming. And if he's unlucky, we may force him to get into stat of the day as we're bombing, which has happened way too often recently. Stick around. This is going to be a fun hour. Do not go away.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication. And we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports, and then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general: baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and Of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in. It is time for Saturday on this gorgeous Wednesday afternoon here in Bellevue. America's head coach Herm Edwards on the sideline and ready to go. But first, Saturday presented to you.
America's head coach?
He is America's head coach.
I wonder how he feels about that.
Saturday presented to you by John English Antique Sports and Cars, located in Shelbyville, Tennessee. 204 East Depot Street is where you can find them. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So give them a call at 931-492-4304. To the association we go. We'll throw Herm in here to help out. Last week, Nikola Jokic became the third player in NBA history to record over 500 points, 200 rebounds, and 150 assists in a single playoff run. Can you name the player who was the first to ever accomplish this?
Okay, let's start with Herm. Let's just dump it in his lap. I've got a one that I think's pretty good. Herm, I know you follow the NBA. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna take a guess at it. Bill Russell.
Okay, he's going Bill Russell. I'm going Magic Johnson. Kelly, who are you going?
Oscar Robertson.
Let's go with.
Three really good guesses.
But they're not any good.
But they're not there. That's great.
I don't have a buzzer, but none of them are correct.
Magic is scratching the surface. He went head to head with this guy.
Oh,
He went head to head with this guy.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
It is Larry.
Oh,
That was a gimme hit.
the hick from French Lick.
Wow, Larry
Hey,
Bird.
baby.
Nice. Okay, can we now officially get to, you called him America's coach?
He is
I
America's
like
head
that.
coach.
I'll take that assignment.
I love it.
I'll
Herm,
take
how
that.
you doing?
I'm well. I'm in Florida. I just left Charlotte and flew down here to Florida, and we're okay. Nice day.
Sounds rough.
Fine.
Sounds
Beach back
rough.
there. Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of beach.
You like to rub that in, don't you?
I just saying the beach. I like those places with the beach. When I leave here, I go back home. Is there's beach. You coming out there for the Women's U.S. Open? Pebble Beach. You coming out
You
there?
know what? I'd love to do that. Was that an invite?
I'm just asking. I don't know because you're big. You know what? I met a guy today. Oh boy. And with Georgia Tech, played with a teammate of mine, and he thought I actually was in Tennessee. He says, you on Georgia's show. I said, yeah, he's being famous on Georgia's show. So he has a lot of good things to say about you. So that was good.
That's a 1 in a billion shot that could happen.
Man, he's listening to your show all the time.
Oh, you tell him thank you.
Mhm.
So, Herm, I'm going back to the way ESPN used to use you some, voice of reason. So, if you were the commissioner of the PGA,
Oh boy.
would you have come anywhere close to going down the road that he has gone down?
In the beginning or at the end?
No, I mean
He's
now.
gone two roads now. He went 2 lanes.
Yes, he
He was
did.
in one lane before and he came back to the other lane. Look, for us to sit here and try to figure out why he made this decision, I think we all kind of got an idea of why he made the decision. But we don't have enough information to really, say, oh, and it's easy to always say that, but when you're in that room, the PGA Tour better than anybody else. You have the finances. You have 10 years from now, what should it look like? All those things. I think you get the best golfers now playing against each other, for sure, right? I mean, that's what the fans want, by the way. The fans want that. They want to see good on good, the best golfers in the world playing against each other. It'll be interesting how TV handles this, right? I mean, all of a sudden, they can set their own price, what it costs. You want to put this on television? This is what it's going to cost because we got all the best players. Kind of interesting.
That is interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Right? Kind of interesting.
So you've been in a situation in '87 when the NFL went on strike. And all of a sudden, for 3 weeks, they made the mistake of using the replacement players.
Yeah.
That was a bad move on their end. And when a couple, 3 of them would be good enough to stay on a roster, nobody would speak to them. Don't you see some of that same kind of stuff coming here?
Yeah, but a couple of those guys that went over there, they were allowed to play in a couple tournaments. And then some of the guys that, said some things and whatever, it's kind of one of those situations where it's uncomfortable. But I think once it all settles in, these guys will come together. And it might have, cost some guys maybe some friendships. But at the end, they're professional. Look, these guys, they're getting ready to hit the lotto. Right? I mean, if you're a young golfer now, if you're a young golfer coming out of college and you want to become a professional golfer, you're and you know what? Rightly so, right? And it's okay. But these dudes have set the stage for you now. Wow, it's gonna be interesting.
So how do you make it right where certain golfers took this huge pot of gold and now they're being allowed back in completely, we think being the key? I mean, doesn't there have to be some re-divvying up of the pie?
Yeah, I hear that. But what's the number? And then for some of these guys, how much money do you want? How much money do you need? Look, we went on. There was a couple of strikes. You mentioned the one in '87. I went on one earlier than that in my career, where I ended up, where we ended up coming back, but we missed. I don't know how many games it was. We missed 6, 7 games, right? I lost $200,000, and when my era plan, that was a lot of money. I never got it back. But the players going forward, their salaries went up. The league changed. It changed. And I didn't sit there and go, hey, man, I say, hey, for the betterment of the league, I get it. I'm going to do what's right to make it better for the players.
I had forgotten that was in '82.
That was a big one.
They had the shortened season.
That was a big one now. That got ugly. That got really ugly. And eventually we came back, but it was, we sat.
Interesting stuff right there. Kelly, I'm going to run to you because I know you're hearing all this and you got a ton of stuff. So go at it with America's coach.
Well, first thing, Herm, please don't ever invite George to a golf. Have you ever seen the dude's golf swing? He hits his driver about 125, man. He doesn't get in the weight room. There's no athleticism in the swing at all.
Is it straight?
Well, I mean, it can't help but be straight when it's only 125 yards.
Remember this, Kelly. Be leery of the guy that hits the straight shots, because you know what they can do when they don't hit it far? They can really chip and putt. You hit one of them long yards.
I know. I play with,
and you know what I'm saying? And you played against those guys, and then you go, okay, and this guy's like 50 yards behind you, and then he says his second shot still ain't on the green. You're on the green. You're going, you missed your birdie, and all of a sudden he chips up and he goes, I made a par. And you go, I made the same par. How did I just make a par? They kill you. They just kill you.
That's funny you say that because I played with some old dudes before, and it used to irritate me so bad because they get to go up further than you do.
Yep.
And it's always straight, and it always used to piss me off.
I tell you, and you know what's great about what you're just saying? I'm not too proud anymore. I'm 69. I can actually go up there if I want. If I choose to go up there, I'm going to go up there and say, take that, boys.
That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. So let's get on some football. So You talked about him a couple of weeks ago when we talked, and I got to meet him in Cleveland. What's your thoughts about the late Jim Brown?
I met Jim and was very gracious. Can remember meeting him at the hotel, came over to the hotel. And in my opinion, and I said it before, guys, I said, he's the greatest football player ever play. Not even close. Great athlete. People don't realize this guy ran track. Great lacrosse player. I mean, put in a rule because of Jim Brown. Did a great job of being an activist for the movement, for the civil rights movement, and think about this. He could have played 10, 12 years easy. He left early. Jim Brown didn't play. I don't even think he played 10 years.
Played 9.
He went into the movies. I mean, people don't realize that this is a big man. This man was every bit of 6'3", 225, 230 now. They couldn't tackle him. I say this. People say, well, he was just running back. He's running back. I said, look, think of it this way. Just put your mind on this one. In the era that he played in, the forward pass was obsolete. Mm-hmm. They might have thrown 10 passes in a game, right? So if you're on defense, think about this. You play with 11 guys. All 11 guys on defense said, all we got to do is stop that one guy. We just got to tackle him. He couldn't tackle him. He couldn't tackle him. Wasn't even fair.
Well, he played 9 years.
Yes.
Played 9 years, and I think it was a, he said he wanted to do other things, but I know that fans were upset when he did that because that's kind of the prime of a career. Right. And the way he was going, I mean, his Hall of Fame career was unbelievable.
It really was. And really did so much for people that look like me, right?
Yeah.
In a time, you talk about him, Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, all those guys. They were willing to sacrifice their careers, man, and take on, the civil rights movement and take on opportunity, where a lot of guys wouldn't have done that, and they were willing to do that. And that, I remember how good they were athletically, but when they did that, I was younger than these guys, and I saw that, and I went, wow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good man. I was able to meet him in Cleveland a couple of times. He'd always be there, and he was just he seemed like a great person to me. I really liked him. He was approachable. He he liked being he would like being around the game, and he was always there.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I asked you a couple of weeks ago about being a head coach in the pros and in college, but I want to tap your brain on this. What makes, in today's football, with all the things going on, what makes a good head coach in the NFL?
In the NFL?
Yeah.
I think you got to be a good delegator.
Yeah.
And because your main job is to understand the temperature of your team, understand the team that you're trying to build, so that the scouting people understand when we go look for players or we bring players in, this is what we're doing. We're building this. This is who we are. You're always going to have some outliers, but then you got to be a good communicator. It's critical. You got to be a good communicator. And I've always said this: you treat them all fair, but you don't treat them all the same. And they know that, and players know that. You treat everyone fairly, but you can't treat them all the same because that's life too. That's how it works. And I think if you're, and if you're consistent, and this, you play. If you're consistent with a guy, they want that, and you don't, and you always. This is why football and sports are so great, because there's this team thing, and all the player wants to know is this: will coach put me in position to succeed? Don't will be in position to fail. Don't expose me. Don't expose me. And you know that. You played.
Yeah, I can remember a story about Jimmy Johnson talking about you don't treat them all the same. They were in a team meeting one day, and one of the linebackers who wasn't playing was sleeping.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Troy Aikman, he looked over there, and Troy Aikman was dozing too.
Yep.
Well, he didn't say nothing to Troy Aikman, but he really ripped into the linebacker that wasn't playing well. So
now wait a minute, wasn't it the running back Curvin Richards?
Oh, Swerving Curvin.
Is that who it was, George?
Yeah, and he ended up,
was.
He ended up cutting him because he fumbled twice in the regular season finale.
He was,
yeah. Well, it's like anything else. You got to earn the right to get treated different. You got to earn it. It's like when I went to New York, I had Curtis Martin, right? And we had the kid, I forget his name. Great. He was a good player too. We drafted him the second running back. Good player. Drafted him in the second round. And I told him, I said, now look, 9-on-7, Curtis Martin during practice, he's gonna run it maybe once or twice. You got to run the ball. And he looked at me, he was a rookie. He said, well, why didn't Curtis have to take? I said, that's Curtis Martin. He's gonna wear a yellow jacket. When you get to the point where I think you're gonna wear a yellow jacket, win a yellow jacket, you'll carry it that way the same too. But right now you're not getting a yellow jacket. He has a yellow jacket.
Curtis
Martin. And in the preseason, and everybody knew Curtis Martin got 2 plays in the preseason. He got mad at me when I first took the job. I said, you get 2 plays. You get one when we get in the red zone, or like on the 3-yard line. It's going to be a dive. I'm going to give you the ball so somebody can tackle you or break the tackle. And then I'm going to throw you a pass in the flat, catch it, and run out of bounds. That's all you get in the preseason. He looked at me like I was crazy. Curtis Martin. He looked at me like I was crazy because Curtis Martin's a work ethic guy, wants to work. And I said, no. Because I told him this. I said, Curtis, I gave him the football. I said, look, is it heavy? He went, no, coach. I said, good, because you're going to carry it a lot. It ain't heavy. But I'm saving you. You have nothing to prove to me. You have nothing to prove to me in the preseason. And all the players understood it.
Yeah. He had earned that respect. And just a quick story about Curtis Martin. I played in the Blue-Gray All-Star game a long time ago in Montgomery.
Okay.
And he was the running back for the North team, for the other team. And he was such a good guy. And I can remember him giving a speech for an FCA banquet that week. He's a really, you couldn't ask for a nicer guy. He worked his tail off and he deserved everything he got.
Yes. No, he was fabulous, and a great player. I mean, but I told him, I said, hey man, don't worry about it. You'll get the ball when the game starts. You don't have to. We're good.
I love it. Herm, you are the best. Thank you as always.
I appreciate you
Coach.
guys. All right, man.
Wow.
See you later. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
Oh, love having him on. I'll never not love having him on. Terrific. And that's why we try to have him on every week. After the break, the president of the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, Jason Rittenberry, is going to join us. He's got a lot to talk about because, boy, since the last time we had him on, man, have they been busy. Stay tuned.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Lanes. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between. Discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700, send us a message at celestemiddleton.com, or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome back. I used to do this thing in my radio sports talk show life where I would introduce somebody and say, this is the busiest man in sports in Nashville. Well, this guy about to join us may well be a finalist. There's no doubt about that. Jason Rittenberry is the president of the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and he joins us. You can see him there on the right side. Jason, how does it feel to follow Herm Edwards?
Oh, just hoping I can be as entertaining.
Is he not a piece of work or what?
That was fun. I enjoyed listening.
Yeah, well, I do every week. So you've been incredibly busy. One of your incredible skill sets is music. And I've got to think even you've outdone you in what y'all have put together this year.
We're pretty excited about the lineup we've got. We kind of stepped outside of the box a little, and we've stayed traditional country here in Nashville the first 2 years of this event, but we felt like we wanted to really make it a little more of a party this year. And so, we stepped away outside and very excited about the lineup we've got. I can tell you the people on Saturday night are going to have a really good time.
Jason, I told Liz Allison, who I have worked with over the years and love her to death, one of the all-time great people to ever work with. I told her that when she wanted me to do essentially a live commercial, and I admitted to her that I had never been to a Grand Prix, but that the things I have been hearing the last 2 years from people in the same boat telling me it's one of the coolest things they've ever experienced, that's sort of the way I've done your commercial. So I want you to tell others out there who have never been what this first Grand Prix that they'll come to when they buy their tickets, what is it that will stun them and say, whoa?
Well, I mean, if they've never been to a race, then obviously it's going to be, Indy cars zooming by them at 200 miles an hour on the city streets of Nashville. I mean, that's what catches everybody's attention and just takes their breath away when they go zooming by. It's really amazing, and it's a cool experience just because it's on the streets of downtown. I mean, you see races on television, and most of the time they're on a closed road racetrack or a circuit that's you're not driving on a daily basis on the city streets, and that's really what's cool about this event is the cars are racing on the same streets as we are, driving across from Nissan Stadium to downtown every day. But it's much more than that. I mean, it's the cars themselves, but it's the drivers, their personalities, how friendly they are, how they interact with the fans, the access that fans have to the drivers and to the pit areas and the paddocks. It's unlike most every other racing series in the country where, general fans don't have access to all the paddocks. You can't get up close and personal with the cars or the drivers. And we try to provide all of that access. And, our goal when we started this thing was for it to be more of an entertainment event, not necessarily just a race. There's so many other events in the country that are just a race. And this one, we really wanted to be a weekend long festival and event, which is why we have music on 2 or 3 stages every day during the event. We have food trucks with local flavors from here in Nashville. We feel like we brought all the things together that is racing and music and Nashville all together into one for this 3-day festival of speed and sound.
Here's an understatement. You have a great marketing team, don't you?
I think so. I
want to take that a little farther because Jason, when I see the press releases that get sent out over the last few weeks, I'm like, wow, they are working their hands off.
Yeah, we just keep throwing more at it and adding more to the event and more every week. And we're not done yet. We've still got a lot more to announce between now and the race in the next 58 days. And we'll be, starting construction here soon. So there's just a lot that's going to be happening in the next 58 days. But yes, George, our marketing team is killing it. They're doing a great job with getting out the message, trying to share the sounds and all the experiences that the fans can experience here on the weekend. That's our primary goal in all of our marketing, whether it's a press release or a social media post or a TV ad or a radio spot, whatever it is really to convey, yes, it's a race, but also it's going to be a really good time and it's going to be a party and we're going to have a great music lineup and, you're going to enjoy yourself if you come out to this event.
Oh, I've already accepted the invitation from Liz. Tell me this, how much because I've seen it in a couple of other Grand Prix, the whole stadium as a backdrop, that has become a popular piece of this, hasn't it?
It has. In year one, we thought we would use the stadium a lot more than we have. But really, there's some pros and cons to being on it, on the stadium property. But for the most part, it's a really great backdrop. Nissan Stadium is a great partner for us to have, and really have allowed us to do some things with this event that other street courses aren't able to do. Having all the infrastructure and the footprint of Nissan Stadium right there is really helpful to us and helpful to the fans. Provides a lot of amenities, and we're excited about the future for them and excited about a new stadium and what that means for us down the road as well.
Kelly, say hello to Jason Rittenberry.
Jason, how you doing, man?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. I was when I lived in Indianapolis, played for the Colts. I got really interested in racing because I lived 2 miles from the speedway, and I used to hear those cars, and it really got me interested in it. So I went to 6 races while I was there. Got to meet AJ Foyt. Got to go down on the paddock on race day. Got to go where they say start your engine. So it's a really cool experience. And it's really cool that you've brought that to Nashville. But my question to you is, how long does it take to set up that course?
About 3 weeks.
Does it really?
Yeah, we'll start here in about 20 days, and we'll spend about 3 weeks building the course. Obviously, no streets are closed until we finish the course and the race week, but we work overnight each night for about 3 weeks and put all the concrete barricades in and the fence and the gates and the bridges and all the things that we have to build.
That's amazing. So I can't imagine having something like this, but how many people are on your team? I know you talked about marketing, but how many people help you with this? Because it's got to be an ultra undertaking for you to do, for you to do this, for you to bring something like this to the Music City. And it's amazing because if people have never been to a car race and I watched the Indy trials before they had the race, and those guys are going 240 down the straightaway, which is unbelievable to me. And they go in those turns. So this is a Grand Prix, which is a little different, but they can still get up to 200 miles, you said, miles per hour. So yeah, I can't imagine this undertaking. So how many people does it take you to get this thing going? And when do you start doing that?
Yeah, we start year round. So as soon as one race is over, we start planning for the next, and it's a year-round job. And we have a year-round team of about 20 here, full-time people in the office. And then we ramp up closer to the race. But by the time we actually start building the track itself, we'll be 75 or 80 people just on the track build, and then all the vendors that are coming in to build grandstands and suites and all of those things. We're probably at 500 or 600 people to build this over that 3-week time period.
Oh, wow. So how many people do you normally get to the race on race day? Do we know?
Year one, we did about 160,000 over the 3 days.
Oh, wow.
With about 75 of those being on Sunday. Year two, we had unfortunately bad weather on Saturday and Sunday, but we still did about 125,000 people over the 3 days last year. And we're outpacing last year right now. So, we anticipate to be in probably 140 to 150 range this year over the 3 days, with the largest crowd obviously being on Sunday, with 60 to 75,000 on Sunday.
So do you, because I've never been either. I'm going to have to go, man, because I enjoy racing. I watch it, but yeah, I enjoy racing. So what do you have? What all do you have? I know you got a lot of country music singing going on. What do you have during those 3 days?
So during the 3 days, we have 5 racing series that are all racing over the time period.
Okay.
We have the Trans Am series, which are all American muscle cars. They're Trans Ams, Mustangs, Camaros, Mustangs, Dodge Chargers, Challengers. So they race all the American muscle cars racing. Then we have the SRO GT America series, which those are all the exotics. So those are the Lambos, Ferraris, BMWs, Porsches, etc. Then we have another GR Cup, which is a Nissan-based series that will race here for the first time this year. And then we also have the Stadium Super Trucks, which are the fan favorite. They're jumping the trucks over over bridges and ramps that they set up on the track.
Oh, wow.
And then we have the 2 IndyCar series. We have Indy Next, which is the feeder series to IndyCar, kind of like I would say the AAA, compare it to baseball. And then we have the NTT IndyCar series, which is the premier series of open wheel racing here in the U.S. And that's the big race that's live on Sunday on NBC on network television, broadcast in 26 different countries. So that's the marquee event for the weekend. But over those 3 days, all of those race series have a practice session, a qualifying session, and a race.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. I had no idea all those. So that's pretty cool. So how many years have you been doing this in Nashville?
This will be the 3rd event here in Nashville.
The 3rd event. So it's just getting bigger and bigger every year.
Getting bigger and bigger. And we're close to finalizing a new 3-year extension with the city and with IndyCar. So we're excited about that and hope to have some announcements on that coming soon in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think everybody's understanding about Nashville now. We've had the draft here. We've had, we've got football. We got hockey. Talking about bringing baseball here. Now we got an Indy series here, which is really cool. So, hey, props to you.
Thank you, buddy.
Bring it out.
Look forward to hosting you.
Hey, Jason, we're going to make a deal. You've worked your fanny off. I'm going to take care of the weather.
Perfect. Deal.
That's a deal.
Don't say that, George. Don't say that.
I know it. I know it. But you know what? I'm going this year. I've never been to a Grand Prix. I am excited as all get out. MusicCityGP.com. If you hear this and you say, I got to go, it's that simple.
That's simple. Right.
Jason,
buy a ticket. Come join us.
You were a good man to follow Herm.
Happy to do it anytime.
Thanks. Let's do it again soon.
All right, buddy. Thanks, George.
Jason Rittenberry, the president of the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. So, Kelly, sometimes you can't help how things get scheduled. And today it was just one after another after another. I'm looking forward to the interview with the new Predators coach, Andrew Brunette. I covered Andrew when he was a player, and now I'm going to cover him as a coach, and he's not going to believe the first question I'm going to ask him.
I'm sure. Herm didn't think you were going down that path either. We started talking golf instead of football.
But, Herm has kind of that commissioner feel to him. And I was just kind of curious how he would have handled that.
Are you gonna ask Andrew about the A's moving to Vegas?
No, I'm not. But believe me, by the time he hears the question, he'll have a smile on his face.
Guess what, Billy? That'll be tomorrow. He'll be bringing that up tomorrow with Danny. There's no question.
Danny Evans. I can't wait.
Okay, after the break, the new Predator head coach, Andrew Brunette, will join us. Stick around from our beautiful digs at the Ford Ice Center.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
So a lot has been made of the fact that the new Predator head coach, Andrew Brunette, scored the first goal in Predator history. I remember it well because I was there. Preds got shut out by Florida in their opening game, regular season existence, 1-0. And so there needed to be a goal scored, and it happened in the second game. Kelly, I was sitting in 304 row 1 on that particular night, and 25 years later, I'm sitting in 304 row 1.
Huge Predators fan, I know. And I was reading about Coach Brunette. He scored the first goal in history, right? And then he finished his career in Nashville, I think, with another team, but his career was ended that night in Nashville. So he's obviously got a lot of good memories of Nashville.
I know we saw him a minute ago. We lost him.
I think we have his audio, but we're not seeing his face yet. So
that's not good.
No, we've got to get. Oh,
there he is. Okay, let's bring him up here. And let's say hello to the new coach of the Nashville Predators. Andrew, how are you?
Pretty good. It's actually better when you don't see my face, I think. So.
Well, look, I'm in no position to talk. It's been said many times I've got a face made for radio. So here's a question nobody else is going to ask you. One of your teammates with the original Preds was my buddy Drake Barahowski. Drake and I did a radio show together. Were you ever forced to be on that show?
That is a great question. I don't think I was, that I can remember. So maybe I was. I'm not sure.
When was the last time you talked to him?
I talked to him probably, it would have been, probably 6 years ago. Maybe a little bit before that, but he was working at the time. He coached our East Coast Hockey League team in Orlando when I was in Minnesota. So he was coaching. I saw him at a couple of training camps over that time. And then we got mutual friends, and one of his sons plays hockey with one of my best friends that I coach with. And so I got to kind of get a connection. I think I've said hello a few times on Zoom or when he's on the phone with them. So I've sort of talked to him, but I haven't seen him for a little while.
Hey, next time you talk to him, tell him Plaz said hello.
I will for sure.
You know, I taught him baseball. That first year he came over and watched a Braves playoff game with me, and then we watched a hockey game, and he tried to teach me. I knew nothing, just like everybody else here. I didn't know the first damn thing about what was going on. And for a couple of years, I couldn't figure out what the fascination was. But let's just say 25 years later, Andrew, I have been bit. I'm excited you're here, and I know you're excited because I could feel it in the press conference, your enthusiasm.
Yeah, I'm so excited for many different reasons. Obviously, the city of Nashville touches a nerve there, and I'm proud of what's been accomplished there, even though I had a tiny, small part at the start of it. But to be coming back almost a little bit full circle with Barry and with David, knowing those guys for 30 years and to come back again into Nashville, to be reunited with them and the relationships that we built. And it's super exciting. And I'm excited for the fan base, and I'm excited about our team. I really, I've been on the outside playing against them, coaching against them, managing against them. And you always knew coming in that building, it was a tough place to play. And it was electrifying and it was energetic. And those are the things I'd like to really incorporate in our group going forward. A little bit of that Predator away when we're going to be enthusiastic, we're going to have energy, and we're going to try to get that building going.
So when it started to get murky that Barry was thinking about options, did you expect a phone call from him?
No, I mean, I was still surprised. And somebody asked me that the other day, that Barry would go into general managing. I had talked to him last summer, and kind of when I was going through my things with Florida, we had constant communication. Obviously, Barry's been a big mentor for me. Obviously, just from the coaching aspect, or when he coached me when I was in the American Hockey League. He was always there for a supportive figure when I was playing, and then when I got into management and coaching, et cetera. So we've stayed in touch, and I was under the impression he wanted to coach again. And he kind of said that I'm just going to decompress. I have some personal things, obviously, with his parents and his father passing away. And he said, I'm going to jump back into coaching as soon as I just need some time and I'll figure it out. So I was under the impression that he was going to go back into coaching. I know he had a bunch of offers. So I was a little surprised when he took over from David, or stepped in waiting to take over, that he was going to be a management and a general manager. So I guess when you get in the middle of a hockey season, when I was in New Jersey, and he had his stuff going in Nashville, that you kind of don't even really think about it. And then when the season kind of ended, to get a phone call from him was super exciting, a little surprising. And, it was hard to say no to somebody that's meant so much to me over my whole career.
Andrew, you had this gaudy record as an interim, and yet you don't get the job, which that's no fun. But I'm sure it led you to say, okay, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? When you went through that process, because every human being does, what did you come up with?
I mean, that's a great question. And you do for sure. You replay all the different things. You do a little soul searching. And I unfortunately didn't come up with a whole lot. I just think the hardest thing was just to let it go, as every human being knows. And we're all human, and it does hurt when you're let go and they move on. So I think for me, it was just letting it go and then appreciating the time that I was there with those players, the relationships I built, the success we had, and look at it more as a positive than a negative. Obviously, I would have done different things in the second round against Tampa. Absolutely. But I think with that group at that time, they needed to, you could talk as a coach to your blue in the face. They had to go through the pains of playoff hockey and understand how hard it is to win. And we could talk about it and they could think they know it, but until you go through it, it's a hard thing. And I don't think with that group last year, there was a big learning experience for them, that they learned how hard it was. And I think it was an eye opener for them. And so when you see them this year in the finals, they've obviously has shown that resiliency and that grit that they learned from Tampa Bay last year. And that's kind of the evolution. If you look at all the teams that won Stanley Cups, you look at Colorado that won last year, they went through a bunch of those years that they had to learn how hard it is. And there's so many little things that go into it. And you think of Barry's team in Washington winning President's trophies and getting knocked out in the first round and the second round and almost getting there. And that journey up that mountain, there's lots of pitfalls and there's lots of little mud, and there's you fall, you got to get back up. But the more times you do it, the more you're comfortable being uncomfortable. You're comfortable how much it hurts. So I think, you look back on it, and I think I felt I had them in the right path to have success this year, and it didn't work out. And all in all, once you let it go and once you kind of center yourself, you try to take the positive and the good feeling out of what happened and move it forward. And I had a great team this year in New Jersey, obviously as an associate coach, to be a part of that team, missing the playoffs and being one of the worst teams in the league to being fourth best team in the league. And that was all positive. So you take those things in stride, you try to learn from them a little bit. And I think the biggest learning experience for me in that whole process is just letting go and just taking the positives and building off them instead of just dwelling and being negative. So it's not easy, but that's kind of what I learned there.
Andrew, those of us who were season ticket holders who were there most nights saw a team last year that the veterans, I can't tell you what it is. I've got my own theories, but all of a sudden when the young guys came up, it was totally different and it was totally better. What did you see?
I watched you guys, or watched, I guess, us later in the year a bunch of times. It came in from some of the pre-scouts, and what I saw was a team that was very energetic, and they looked like they're having fun together, and they were enthusiastic of playing in big games that time of year. And that team's been a really good team for a lot of years with that group of core veterans. And it's hard. And last year there's injuries and you had ups and downs and things didn't go quite as the way they wanted. And a lot of times when you get an influx of youth, they bring that maybe they were lacking. So that's kind of what I saw from the outside. Again, I'm not in there every day. And for me, it's a clean slate for everybody. I would just like to build off that energy and that enthusiasm they had at the end of the year and carry it into the start of this year, because I've seen this I've seen it a bunch of times in my career, both playing and coaching, is if you can get off and you bring that early, it's amazing how contagious that is. It's amazing the results you get out of that when guys are enjoying each other. They're pulling for each other. You become a team, and you grab that energy and you compete like heck because you're enjoying the process. So I'm looking forward to building it from what they had at the end of the year and bringing in the training camp this year.
Andrew, you're about to talk with former NFL quarterback Kelly Holcomb, but I've got to let Kelly know as we do this. Kelly, let's bring him up there. Kelly, when I was looking at Andrew, he's got the Blue Jays hat on. I thought I was talking to Shea Weber. Andrew, Shea and I used to go at it constantly. He'd wear all this Blue Jays stuff. He was diehard Blue Jays, and I'm diehard Atlanta Braves. I got to get you a Braves cap.
Yeah, I actually I played in Atlanta, so I was we had Tom Glavine and John Smoltz. They used to come down to the games, and I went to some big playoff games because that would have been 99, 2000. So yeah, I'm a Brave fan too, and especially with now the GM that was in Toronto, being in Atlanta. Yeah, I'm always kind of rooting for them too. So it's in my blood a little bit, but I still bleed Blue Jay blue.
Kelly, he's got a chance.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Coach. I know you're excited about that. When I was playing with the Bills, I went up and watched the Buffalo Sabres and kind of got into hockey. And George is always on me. I'm still trying to learn the game, and with him, he's forced me to. But what was the first thing you did when you walked in the building?
First thing I did when I walked in the building, I guess, was look inside and just feel it a little bit, So
yeah, I'm sure you had a bunch of meetings, but I didn't coach in the professional level. Obviously, I played for 13 years. I had an opportunity, but I came back and coached high school football, and I can remember thinking back when I was a kid. You go through a bunch of coaches. So what did you take? I know you talked about Barry Trotz, but what did you take from Barry Trotz that you feel like you've brought with you coaching wise?
Oh boy, I mean, I've taken so many different things from Barry. He was kind of my first professional coach when I was 20 years old, and very ill prepared to play pro hockey, and to be around him for that time. I've probably taken a lot of things from him, and we probably don't have enough time in the show, but I think the values that he lives his life by every day were values, and we're not even talking hockey, but just as an individual, as a person that he is, there are values that I carry through my whole career, just from how he handled himself and the culture he set in when I was in Portland, Maine with him, the compassion he had, the empathy, the guy you can always talk to, and the same thing he demanded a lot from you. So there was the work ethic and the compete, but you enjoyed coming to the rink. He made it enjoyable, and you were going to work your butt off. You're going to compete like heck, but you were going to have fun doing it. And those are those principles that I've taken, not just through my playing career, but through my coaching career, that those are values that I hold dear and I think are very important. And I've tried to implement them in, not as a player, being, assistant captain in different places and a captain, but as a coach. Those are real important things for me. And I got those from Barry.
Yeah, let me take it just a step further. What are your thoughts on his belief in you? It seems like you were his guy. You talked about you had talked to him, and he thought that he was going to be a coach, but then he became a GM, and then you were at the top of his list. So what are your thoughts on his belief in you?
Well, I mean, obviously, that was a big reason, or the reason with our relationship that Nashville was so enticing, and that Nashville became a no-brainer because of those things, that Barry thought of me that way. And then our relationship and support that we've had for each other through all these different years, it really took everybody else off the table. And for me, it was obviously a no-brainer to come and work for Barry again. And anytime you, as a coach, you have that kind of relationship with your general manager, I think success will follow.
Yeah, well, congratulations. I know we're probably up against a little bit of time, but I know about Nashville, about the Middle Tennessee area, man. It's a great place to be, great place to have a family, and congratulations, absolutely.
Thanks, Kelly. I remember watching you, Cleveland Brown.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It's been a long time ago, man. Of course, we're both up in age now. I can't believe that. I'm looking at my gray hair on this podcast, and I'm like, I can't think that I can't believe it. I've been retired for 15 years now.
It doesn't feel like that long ago either. I know it's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is. It truly is crazy. But I think about it often. But it's just funny that you had the first goal here, and then I read where you ended your career. Did you end your career in Nashville? So it seems kind of a destiny thing that you're back here coaching the Predators now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Thank you,
Andrew. Thanks for taking the time to come on. Can't wait to get to see you again. Excited about what you're bringing to the table. A lot of people are, and by the way, your answer about Barry Trotz was spot on. That is one really good human being. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Anytime, guys. Appreciate it.
Go Braves. Got a Blue Jays fan. They got no pitching.
You don't see that much.
No, they got no pitching. Okay.
I saw somebody with a Blue Jays. I saw somebody with a Blue Jays hat on the other day, and I'm like, I can't believe they're a Blue Jays fan.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to close this up with the plaster bet of the day.
It's that time of the day. It is time for Plaster's Bet of the Day, presented to you by the good folks at Bart Durham Injury Law Firm. They are, simply put, the best in the business. They are lawyers you can trust. So give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. And Kelly, the Plaz is hot.
He did it.
Yeah.
Don't let Plaz get hot.
Looks like the rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. Everybody gather around the television. Daddy's here to make you some money.
Here's what's going to happen. He's not going to stop betting on Vegas. I think you found something with Vegas here. They are rolling.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, come on.
When they get the Florida Panthers tomorrow,
you're gonna switch it around tomorrow?
Could.
Kelly, you notice how his tune changes when he's winning versus when he's losing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's what we call a front runner. There's no question.
When he's losing, it's woe is me.
I'm the only one that puts my neck out on the line every night.
He's one of those kids that if he was winning on the basketball court at the park, he was okay. But when he started losing, he went over there and sobbed and cried and whined.
That is not true.
That is true.
The way George says, puts his neck on the line. He's like he's going out to battle.
Defending our country.
Yeah.
Please rise. Okay. Let's get to tonight. I don't know what it is. I cannot totally figure it out. But there is something really special about the Miami Heat. And that's where I'm going tonight. They're going to be home. Denver's really good. But there is something about Miami that says they are a team of destiny. They're going to win a home game. I don't know if they're going to win both of them, but I'm going with them tonight. Plus the points. By the way, the line's gone up to +3 within the last hour or so. Miami Heat to win. Kelly, get ready. I'll be 189 and 188 going into tomorrow. The question is, where are we putting the 189?
Well, I'll be watching.
Yes.
I'm for the Heat, but since you picked the Heat, I'm going to have to be for the Nuggets tonight. So sorry.
That's really nice. You are quite the team player. And
there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Put some fun into the game.
See if you're back tomorrow.
Hey, I'm good with it. I don't have to be back tomorrow.
Send me your Kelly's World of Football topics.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Are we doing that, or are we just going to skip that this week?
No, we are. We absolutely
We cannot forget about
that. It's a sponsored element, for God's sakes.
Ugh.
What in the hell were those people thinking? Okay, we're out of here. Just having fun. Come on. Just having fun. Kelly, see you tomorrow.
See you, brother.
Billy, David, behave. Daddy's home. We're going to make it 5 in a row. See you tomorrow.